a lot of the comparisons that we're getting did not cross our minds at all. If one of our friends had come up to us during this writing process at a rehearsal and said, "Hey, it sounds like ABBA," we'd have tossed his ass out of the room.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Shane, thank you so much. The first album of They Watch Us, the first full-length album of They Watch Us from the Moon is out. Yeah. Usually I get to interview people in the build-up to a release, but it's always fun as well to talk to somebody when that release has happened or is happening. Let's say it like that. Right. It's been roughly a month since the release.
Yep,
so
just about.
How are you now experiencing this moment? Like, is Shane a guy that is, whether you're just about to release an album or you just did one or you're in the middle of a recording and writing cycle, are you always kind of like the same person, or was there a much more hyped up person and a person right now that can let go a little bit? Help me understand.
Well, me personally, I think my friends and bandmates would probably tell you that I'm on rocket fuel majority of the time, but just kind of how my personality is, I tend to go from one mountaintop to the other. But it's been great. I mean, this thing coming out has been a long time coming for us,
right? And
we were all like really excited and hyped and for it to be released, and it's finally here, and it's doing really well, man. For a little band from Kansas, we're getting all kinds of attention we didn't expect, and from people we didn't know beforehand. So it's been really good. It's been fantastic. We just got came out number 10 on the Doom charts for our release, which is for us is a big deal, and it's going really well. We've had some interesting experiences. Pretty exciting stuff.
Given the rocket fueled excitement of this release, are you also able to take that step back and kind of take that all in and really appreciate that moment?
We do. We kind of talk about it a lot. There's a few minutes about every rehearsal that we've had over the last couple of weeks. We just kind of take a few minutes to look at each other like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just kind of one of those moments in life. I mean, none of us are spring chickens, I mean, I just turned this summer I turned 51, and the rest of the band is, all younger than me, but still middle-aged, except for the ladies. They're the youngest. I'm not gonna throw out their information like that, but they're definitely a lot younger than I am. And man, it's just been a really cool experience, to have that happen for me at 50 years old. So
yeah. Now,
pretty intense.
The album comes out when you're in your 50s or your early 50s. It's been written over a long time, but the album itself takes us back in many ways to when you were a kid. Because I think it's almost, you say like, oh, we're on the Doom charts, and okay, if you have to label the beast, the word Doom is going to be in there, but there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of references. And is it fair to say that your band is basically a mix of everything you thought was awesome when you were growing up as a kid?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Honestly, Ben and I were just talking about this the other day, that, we all wrote those songs, but Ben and I penned the original, like, few, riffs and lyrics and things like that. And the rest of the band just put all kinds of stuff on it. But, when we were doing this, this is what we were saying the other day, a lot of the comparisons that we're getting did not cross our minds at all. if one of our friends had come up to us during this writing process at a rehearsal and said, "Hey, it sounds like ABBA," we'd have tossed his ass out of the room. Like, what are you talking? What are you on? Told you not to come over here all screwed up. I mean, it just didn't. It would not have even. Or Pink Floyd, man. People have been making that reference a lot of Pink Floyd, and it's just like, I mean, I love Pink Floyd. I was fortunate enough to see them live when I was a kid in the 80s, and to be anywhere near compared or otherwise looked at in that light is just, it blows me away.
Once that ABBA reference was dropped, is it like after you've calmed down and kicked your friend out, did it make sense though?
Actually, listening to the record after somebody says something like that, you're like, hey, sounds like ABBA. But again, that's not anything we were thinking when we were putting that material down, or we were writing our parts, or when we were recording or whatever. I mean, not once during 3 years of rehearsals did we think, oh, this sounds like, never occurred to us.
Yeah, now some of the references that you've shared, ABBA, Pink Floyd, one of the, apart from the musical and especially like vocal harmonies, maybe with ABBA, and more atmospheric build-up of songs, Pink Floyd-wise, but what those two acts do have in common is that they were, for their genres, extremely versatile. That doesn't shock anyone when I say it about Pink Floyd. Maybe more people might be surprised about ABBA, but if you really dig into their catalog, Dancing Queen and the Eagle are very different songs.
Completely different, yeah.
And that's definitely an element that we find with you guys as well. So when you are creating, when you're writing, for you, are there lines in the sand? Like, are you at the end of the day going like, well, we still have to kind of be a doom band, or is it just whatever works?
No, I mean, we are what we are. We're all individual. As musicians, we're all into doom and heavy rock. The ladies in the band kind of come from a different arena, but all the instrument players in the band, we're all Hessians.
Yeah.
We're all metalheads and old punk rockers, and we've just now kind of evolved into, this is where we're at in life, and it is, we call it doom or heavy psych doom, but yeah, I mean, it's all over the map, really. I mean, we're already working on Act 2 right now, and there's songs on that have zero resemblance to anything prior. So we're all over the map, man. A lot of the stuff that I start writing for the band is all done on a beater acoustic guitar that originally sounds like sad cowboy songs until you put on the overdrive and add the drums and all that stuff. Is true, man. The sucker. This piece of junk right there is I've written majority of those tunes, and the wonderful thing about starting a song on an old beater guitar and giving it to the musical geniuses in which I'm in a band with, man, they do wonderful things with that material.
Not a lot of artists that are working on a debut album are as grounded to say, I write something and I can't wait to share that with the other people in the band and see what they do with that. Is that something that you have always had, or is that something that you learned over time as you were maturing yourself, that one of the biggest strengths you can have is recognizing that other people can add to what you're already doing?
Well, I've kind of always been like that. Personally, for me, that's the best way to write material, is with your friends and cohorts and collaborators in the band. Ben and I were in a band together, I don't know, 20 some years ago. So he and I have been writing stuff together for a long time, and there was a big chunk of time in there we weren't writing together, but in our younger days we did a lot of it, and now we're back to that effort a lot. And but I mean, I can't emphasize enough though that the sound of that band is everybody's combined effort into the thing.
Now I want to go into something else that you just said, as you're working on Act 2. And obviously, if you release an album that's called the Cosmic Chronicles Act 1, The Ascension, it could be kind of fun that the next album is just called whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, Machine Head. But this is the start of a journey, clearly. So
it's the idea.
How many acts do you already have in your, the story that you have in your mind? You might not have written all the music for all of the acts, but is it going to be an Act 2, Act 3, Act 4? What should we expect?
I'll do it for as long as I'm able. The fun part about the continuation of the storyline is there's going to be a comic book that hits the arena here in a short period of time. It's its very last stages of editing, but the comic book, I probably got 4 or 5 issues of that written. So how many albums of that entail? I don't know. Another 2 or 3 at least, I would hope. I mean, like I said, I'll keep going until they make me stop, but there's a lot of material being written and compiled, and not just music, but the comic book as well, and it's all going to meet in a big aha moment to reveal all these plot points and stuff. But the video that we put out a month or so ago, there's a lot of Easter eggs and starting of the legend and lore in that video, and the idea for this was kind of to be a multimedia project, and tell a huge, crazy science fiction story in this multimedia fashion. And of course, the music is the major part of that, but there's all kinds of elements coming. We're working on more video ideas, and talking to animators about animated shorts, and so that's kind of where it's going.
A question that I get wildly different answers to, that I like to ask people that release a concept album, when you play this live, the way that an album was written to make sense in the story might not always be exactly the same on how to build and engage an audience. So what's that like for you as an artist who comes up with this story and what have you? Does that mean the first song on the album has to be played before the second song on the album? Or can you go hey, people really like the opening track, we're going to leave it as the end of the show? What's that like for you as an artist?
Live, we play the tracks in a completely different order. We play the tracks in an order in which is more conducive to the story. And when we play live, we use these cinematic interludes in between the songs that kind of push the narrative along a little bit, in samples and sound effects and things like that. And we're starting to develop more and more of those kinds of things for the stage show, but we also dress in full character for our comic book characters and things of that nature. So, we're trying to tell a big story. There's a lot of we get questions a lot do you think the heavy metal community is going to buy a science fiction costume band? I'm like, well, there's Kiss, Guar, Sleep Token. You can keep going on and on and on with what. Exactly. We're not having a problem finding people that get it.
the people that do get it, hopefully they get to see you guys play live many times. So we're roughly halfway through the year, but for the remainder of 2023, people watching this interview, like, what should we keep our eyes open for? Like, what can we expect?
Well, we're hitting the road. We've played a few road shows already. We're doing a whole bunch of long weekend road shows in different directions. People can hit up our Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff for updates, but we're hitting the upper Midwest. You know, we're doing Des Moines and St. Louis, trying to hit Chicago. We're going to Nashville and back down to Oklahoma and Texas a few more times this summer. So we've got a busy next few months planned. So that's what we're doing. We're getting out there.
Awesome. Well, Shane, I'm excited for you guys to continue telling your story, first live now, and then soon-ish we'll see the sequel to the story come our way, and not just musically, but also in a graphic novel. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Shane, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have some fun.
Absolutely. This is great. Thank you very much.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.